G'day, it is about 10 to 6 on Saturday afternoon, and I can see the clouds are starting to sort of get themselves into a position where I think we might have a bit of amazing colour for sunset. So sunset's about an hour away, and I've got a spot about 10 minutes from my house called Sunset Beach, and I've really wanted to go over there and sort of find a good composition and see if I can shoot sunset over there. There's very few places on the east coast of Australia where you can shoot sunset over the water, but this is one of those places where you can. So just packing the bag now, making sure that I've got everything. I'm going to take the 14 to 24mm wide angle and the 28 to 300 just in case I want the zoom. I always have my 50mm with me just in case, and I was just checking to make sure that the batteries in my wireless remote are all good and that I've got everything in there that I need. So everything is in there, so let's go. We're on our way. Frustratingly, the clouds are already starting to dissipate, but they're up quite high, and I've still got a fair bit of time before sunset, so hopefully anything can happen, who knows. Clear Outside, which is a great app by the way if you haven't used it. Clear Outside says it's going to be clear, and it's usually pretty accurate, so it may be a bit of a fizzer for me, but that's okay. I've got a couple of locations in mind on this Sunset Beach that've got some pretty interesting foreground, and so if I can find a spot that is, really interesting, I don't have to include a lot of the sky to get a good shot. I can just include the foreground. There's a lot of gnarly rocks and trees and things that are sort of growing along the foreshore. So let's hope, fingers crossed, that Sunset Beach holds something magical for us. We'll find out soon. Oh boy, that sun is bright right now, that's for sure. But it won't be long and it'll be dipping down, and we'll be in the perfect spot for photography. Amazing place. There's one guy down there fishing, beautiful canoe there. I might just go down here. I'm thinking about somewhere, the tide's right out at the moment, so I knew that it was low tide, and I was just thinking about finding somewhere where all the rocks and everything are exposed, and I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get around through here, or if I'm going to have to find a different spot to get myself through. But yeah, beautiful spot. Always really nice. Love it by the water, just love it, especially at sunrise and sunset. So let's see if we can find a really nice spot to set up. There's just some really gnarly stuff around here, gnarly trees and rocks, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful spot. Actually makes it quite hard to find a composition because there's so many good things that it's making it challenging. So I found a couple of trees that I like. I'm just sort of going a little bit further because I know I've got a few more minutes before I really have to decide, and then I'll have to decide because I'll run out of time. But I think I'm going to go with this real gnarly one I found that has all these roots everywhere, and yeah, that's beautiful, leading lines. Yep, this is going to be the one. All these roots going everywhere, the tree is gnarly. Bit of sand, beautiful clean sand, some rocks, and then the sunset in the distance. Alright, I'll get set up and then I'll walk you through what I'm doing. Alright, so I have my composition. The sun has already gone down. Things are moving much faster than I expected. Sunset was very fast tonight, but because there's not much cloud in the sky, what I'm going to end up doing, if I can get this filter holder out of its case, is I'm going to do some longer exposures. What I've done is I've got this tree and it's got this beautiful root system in the ground here. Just trying to just see make sure I've got it in my composition. Might even lower the camera down a bit more just to make sure that it is a feature. So I've got this beautiful root system. It just looks amazing. So I'll talk you through my composition in a sec. Yeah, I think what I might do is actually lower my camera down a little bit more, because what I want to do is try and get the root system of this tree in my shot as the leading line. And as that sun goes down, the light is going to be much easier to expose. Oh yeah, that looks beautiful. All right, good stuff. Yep, a little bit wider there. Make sure we're level. So I used to use the electronic level on my camera. I used to use one of those green bubble things on the hot shoe because I found it easier. But on this D850, it's just really easy. I might actually just move around here slightly so the leading line really draws the eye in. Oh, I don't know about that. So we lose something because there's a bush there. Right, let's just do here. And sometimes it's just about those little changes that you make that will give you the shot. It's not going to be spectacular tonight. I'd be kidding myself if I said it was going to be. There we go, just autofocus, touch the screen, focus this out. I put it back into manual. ISO needs to be down at 64. Had that up for something I was shooting this morning. Alright, let's just check. I've got -2 exposure value. Let's go to -1 and just have a look and see what that does. Perfect. I could probably even come up a little bit more. And I'm going to just shoot one at 0 exposure comp and just see what happens. Perfect. A little bit of flashing highlights. Alright, so we'll go down to -0.7, which is 2 stops. And then we'll just have another look. Oh, very, very minute. So it's going to have to be -1. I don't want to put a grad in, and the reason for that now, I've put this filter holder in, but that was just in preparation. The tree sort of takes up the right-hand side of the frame, and what I don't want to do is I really don't want to lose that. So I'm just going to actually come a bit closer to you and change my composition just slightly. I'll need to refocus again. Double check we're level. Pretty close. Okay, get rid of that. And we'll just shoot that. Tell you what, just a bit of a rush tonight. I thought I had plenty of time, but you forget when you're doing the video as well, there's lots of setup work, there's lots of different things you've got to do. I do a bit of B-roll, and before you know it, the sun was gone. But the good thing is that it's a beautiful, calm night, and there's going to be a really nice light for a little while yet. I'm just going to have to watch out I don't get eaten alive by mosquitoes. That's probably the only thing. Alright, so I've got f11, I might go to f13 actually, 1/6 of a second, ISO 64, and I've got -1.3 now on the exposure comp just to avoid any blown highlights, but that's okay because you can always bring out the shadow detail. So always expose for your highlights. Get your highlights right. It might look like absolute rubbish on your screen, and it probably will, but the dynamic range of these digital cameras these days is so good that so long as you expose for the highlights, you'll be able to sort things out really, really well. Alright, so let's talk composition, because that's one of the questions that I get most often is tips on composition. And I'll just walk you through what my thinking was with this and why I think things like this work so well. So I'll just flip the camera around. So you can see I'm set up there. And as I've walked through here, there's a few different things that I've seen. There was this tree up here that was quite nice as well. I don't know if you can see that there. That's a tree there that was also something that I considered. Now I don't know if you can see that, but see those lines going out to that tree, and then of course you've got the sunset out there. So what I look for is I look for some interesting foreground, but I always look for leading lines that I can really draw your eye into the image with. And so then I walked down here So we'll come back over here. So then I walked over here and then I spotted this. Okay, so you can almost see where I've set up there. So there's the camera there. And if I show you, that's probably sort of where the composition is. But you can sort of see that these roots lead up into this tree, and it sort of enables you to have this, if you think about the rule of thirds, so the two crosshairs like that, so the rule of thirds, and then the leading line here, these leading lines will draw the eye into the image, and then of course you've got sunset sort of happening up there on the horizon. So you know, when it comes to composition, that's sort of what I'm looking for. So if you think about those two things, and I know I'm a big one for saying the rules don't matter. So I'm a big one for saying the rules don't matter. Oh, what's that? There's something on the screen there. There we go. Is that better? Yeah, so I'm a big one for saying the rules don't matter. But there's those two rules in particular. If you can get something of interest on the grid lines of the rule of thirds, your horizon sort of on that top line of the rule of thirds, and then some leading lines to draw people's eyes into the image, then you're on a winner. That's the way I look at it. So that's probably the biggest tip I can give you, is to do that. So I'm just going to go a bit wider. I'm just moving things around a little bit here. Just trying some different settings. We're at half a second now. Not by choice, it's just because the light is getting much dimmer. I don't know if you can see that on me, it's not very harsh now. But what it means is that we end up with this beautiful, very, very nice light. And I just want to make sure. It's actually quite difficult to see exactly where those roots are because the foreground on my screen is very dark. So you can see that the foreground on the screen is actually pretty dark. So the way to make it so you can sort of see it, you put your hand on the top of the lens, see how it brightens up the preview on the back of the camera if you're in live view. But it can be a bit tricky to see exactly what the composition is doing. Anyway, you can see we're at f13, half a second, ISO 64. Let's take a shot and we'll just have a look and see what's going on. So we're looking at our histograms there. Oh, see, lots of RGB, lots of flashing highlights there. So we're going to have to do another shot, and we are at already minus 1.3. So I'm going to go to minus 2. This camera handles minus 2 really easily. Let's just have a look. There are definitely no flashing highlights now. The challenge is we might have lost a bit too much detail there. There's a small gap there, but it's not huge in the shadows there. So let's also do one at minus 1.7, just for good measure. That's a good thing about shooting digital, is you can take as many shots as you want. And you don't have to worry. Just beautiful, absolutely beautiful time of night. We've got this beautiful orange hue right across the horizon now. I'm actually going to go portrait. And I'm going to zoom into 24mm because that horizon is a fair way away. And I really feel like if I can just, yeah, I think that'll be good. Somewhere about there. If I zoom in like this, just going to get a beautiful shot. So it's nice and level. What I want to do is just now make sure I've got my exposure and my focus right. Wowee, beautiful, what a beautiful night. I'll just go a little bit over that way. Yep, that is just, so anytime I turn that head, I've got to make sure it's level. I need to get one of those leveling heads I've seen people use with the bar underneath. You just unscrew them and away you go. They do seem very good. Can't see anything now, it's starting to get dark. I don't know how well you can see. Yeah, you can see all right, but it's starting to get pretty dark now. It's starting to get pretty dark now, so it's making it difficult to do what we need to do, but that's all right. I'm going to put it into autofocus quickly. This is where knowing your camera is so important. Right, let's take a shot. Okay. Just need to preview that and make sure that I'm happy with that, because that is probably going to be the one. Oh, that is so nice. So nice. All right, let's just try one at -1.3 and just see what happens with those highlights, because what's happening. Yeah, that worked. Okay, the light's moving around a bit. Okay, the tripod needs to be a bit sturdier. Let's just do that. That's okay. Let's just give that another hit. Yeah, all right, I'm going to go now to -1, because really the sun's dipped right down now, and we should be able to get away with that. Yes. Let's just keep trying our luck. I'm going to go to -0.7 now and just see. Now, every time I do that, I get a longer exposure. All right, so that's just blown some highlights out. So it's telling me that I'm right at my limit there. I'll just wait another couple of minutes and then I'll try again. We are going to run out of light real soon, so we'll wrap it up there. But as you can see, another beautiful sunset. Sometimes I should have got here earlier. You know, there we go. One of those mistakes I speak about all the time is not getting here fast enough or early enough. And, you know, I sort of ran out of time. However, I think I've still managed to find a good composition and I've got a great shot. So all in all, a good outing. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you give it the thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. Until next time, get out there and take some photos.